Hello. Yeah, David. Not just playing. All right, it's your boy Conservez 34, and we are going to talk today in this stream. We're going to talk about live tracks 50. All right, unit, and we're going to talk a little Granniversary. It is the anniversary of Granny played 27 years ago today, and let me just reply to my guy John D. Just went live. All right, and I'm gonna post this link on my Twitter as well, so that everybody knows. Again, we're gonna talk live tracks 50. We're gonna talk Granny, and I'll give a little sidebar to people who are thinking they're gonna get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction when DMB has not even gotten in yet, and also you're probably not going to get tickets. Just a spoiler alert. So we'll talk about that, and most of that is just coming from a lot of diehard fans that want, they're going to travel to whatever. They go to SPAC, they go to like these rare events that are hard to get tickets to, and they show up and they figure out something. It's not going to be the case for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we want to make sure that we warn people, even though people will still do what they're going to do. But we'll talk about that. Let's see. Stream link. And thank you guys for bearing with me as I try to multitask. It's, all right, John. YouTube hating on you. Didn't show up on my notification. Why waste the money to see DMB play ants? Right. Well, it's more people want to be there. It's just like, how when you graduate and like family members that don't even like you just show up because they want to be there, or people just want to see you walk across the stage like mama, and mama wants to see you walk across the stage, grandma, you know wants to see you walk. That, I mean, that's really what it's about, and it will be a special moment for sure, for the band. So people who have been or hardcore fans want to be there, to say they were there, even if they play the phone book, which would be kind of funny if they played the phone book and started reading off numbers out of the greater Cleveland area, and that was their Hall of Fame set. And people would still love it. It'd be like the best set ever. But we want to first start off with live tracks 50, and then we'll get to Granny, then we'll get to the R&R HOF. So first, live tracks 50 is going to be coming out December 20th, 2019, and it's going to be Hershey Park Stadium, July 10th, 2004. Now, we have gotten some of these songs, not some, just two of them. Warehouse 5 had the rhyme and reason. Warehouse 5 Volume 5 and Warehouse 8 Volume 2. They listed as MSG, but it actually was this show here, Hershey Park. And then we have Good Time, which was selected for Warehouse 7 Volume 2 and Warehouse 10 Volume 2 there. And some people have argued that it's the best Good Time of all time there. So those are the two ones that we got. Also, what would you say Dave fumbles the words according to the DMB Almanac? And there's an improv jam. Dave leaves the stage for 2 minutes after. What would you say? So maybe he had to go to the bathroom, right? We got a prelude to Grace in E1 spot as well. So This was something that, John Dick says the audience recording is very clean. One of my favorites from that year. Yeah. So what I after doing some research, this was a live tracks that fans wanted. On Ants marching forms, they had wanted this from management for a while, and now we're gonna get it. So when you look at one of the reasons this is gonna be dropped on December 20th, that's the main reason. The 04 is a top 5 year as far as just from listening to the recordings from people who went to the shows that talk about the years. It seems to be something that it's one of the best years of the band live. You have you have the guitars are right. Early D&B, Dave is playing on some guitars that just aren't as in tune. Right, he's just tuning by ear, right? But when you get to 04, the his guitar is solid, right? And then you have just the band just sounds great. You have the technology for how the soundboard's going to be in '04 versus 95, 96. The amount of tracks they have from the soundboard in 2004, and the quality of you're going to have some of the best sounding shows from this band. Because as you get after, from 2004, then you get to '05, '06, '07, and those are still solid shows. But once you get past Roy passing, the overall sound of the band to me takes some steps back because Leroy Moore can never be replaced. Carter gets older, Boyd gets carpal tunnel, and that just gets worse, and then Boyd just disconnects from the band. So '04 is really, you could even, I mean, to me that's just like the last peak year of DMB as far as like putting up those, not like a basketball player being able, or a football player putting up their prime numbers. '04 is that last year. '05 is stand up. John, you can comment about it, as he's is mentioned, though it was an abysmal tour for people on '05, even though they went to Red Rocks, right? Last Red Rock shows. But '05 was abysmal. '06, '07, you get something special was happening, but it's not to the point of '04. Um, and but Leroy was '05 was the beginning of the end, and that's John who was at these shows, right? Um, but and then you get, once Leroy passes, I mean, the band, Tim starts being turned up and touring full time, and then Rashawn starts saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be loud." But overall, so this live tracks. One of the things that was pointed out about this is, there's this live tracks is yet another '04 release. So for the 50th, one thing that people may be disappointed in is the fact that this is supposed the big 50. All right, we're at the half century mark. Were they going to release some super uber rare show, or they're going to drop something that just has some special moments? Are they going to have John Mayer at the Hollywood Bowl? Are they going to have this show that fans have been clamoring about for years? It hasn't been released yet. Is there going to be this special show at SPAC, or a special show at Alpine, or a special show during the Caravan that just hasn't been released live that we're going to get? Are we going to get a DMB2 sets? So these were some of the things that people were hoping for that they didn't get it. This is the sixth live tracks released from 2004. So again, another thing is it's another '04 show. So those are kind of the arguments, or just kind of some of the reactions I saw that were like, why is it another '04 show? We've gotten a lot of these songs live. I mean, '04. Um, you have these special '04 songs, Hello Again, Crazy Easy, Sugar Will, Joyride. They've already been heard a bunch of times. So that was just some of the reasonings of people who were kind of just saying, all right, why was this picked another '04 show for the big 50? But at the same time, this year, the '04 year, I mean, again, it's a great year for the band. So we're going to hear different versions or slightly different sounds from these same songs, because back in the day, unlike now, although sometimes it does vary, right? But back in these days, you didn't get the same. These were being road tested. They were trying to see how these songs were going to stick. So you're going to have um, you're going to have a little bit different of a sound, and the quality of this is what people are talking about. From John and even other people were saying that the taper versions of this, just sounds better than some of the other '04 shows, and that's a key. That's important too, because one thing with this is, now that there's 50 live tracks, right? DMB is really starting to get to like how the Grateful Dead live releases are. The Grateful Dead have many more live releases than DMB, and that's because they've been around longer and their archives and their. I mean, DMB took the idea of multi-track recordings. They adopted that after really being around the Grateful Dead. The year that Jerry Garcia passed, when they opened up for the Dead for a couple of those shows, and so they adopted kind of the recording prowess and the recording expertise of the Grateful Dead, who had been doing it for decades, before DMB ever took stages, right? And they adopted that. So, but with Grateful Dead releases, a lot of them they're similar sets, right? And they do a little more improv. Actually, I'll say much more improv than DMB does. You'll hear two different Sugar Rees, you'll hear two different Tennessee Jeds, and it's like from the same tour, and they do a lot more improv. But what DMB fans are going to experience is there's going to be a lot of live tracks releases they're going to be similar set lists. And again, I've always said this band never was super spontaneous in the jam in the idea of jamming. Sure, they had some special stuff. They didn't, they would mix up certain songs, but they played the same exact songs pretty much every night. All right, you go to a 2 night stand, you go to a 3 night stand in 2000, you're getting busted stuff all 3 nights. That's what happened in Hartford, right? You're getting the Stone 2 out of 3 nights. You're getting Drive In Drive Out 2 of the 3 nights. uh, they were playing similar sets, but what made you want to follow this band was the way they played, how differently they played stuff, how fun it was to hear these songs. Even though they were playing some of the same songs every night, they were just on fire. So we're going to get to a point where these live tracks they're going to have a lot of repetition of set lists. They're going to have a lot of crossovers. We're going to get more 2000s or more 98s or more 2001s, right? And if we look at a couple reasons on why, say, all right, why didn't they release this live tracks? This is a great show. First reason they may not release a live tracks, there's errors in it, right? There's vocal errors, there's organizational errors. Now, fumbling the lyrics is actually a cool thing in the D&B community, but this band is very sensitive on how they sound. If one song is off, right? They do a lot of editing. They've muted Boyd in some of these live tracks. They've put in false sound in the Fenway Park live tracks, which I can't listen to it. I know people can, but it's like the fact that the artificial sound kind of ruins some of those songs. I'll listen every now and then because it's the great sets out of Fenway. But this band is very sensitive with how they sound, and that's why we don't get a recording right after the show. There's a reason for that. They're very sensitive with how they release. We get certain web streams and all that, but it's like once or twice a tour, as far as like the web streams. Then now Sirius, they're making money. Sirius is paying them some moolah, so they're going to release every Friday show. But this band is very sensitive of what they release and how they release it to you. So there's some great songs, some great sets, and they'll never be released in the live track series because the band is too sensitive to release it. Remember, this is the same band that didn't release the Lily White sessions. They were sensitive about, no, I don't know, the vibes are wrong. And the vibes were kind of off for that session, but it made some of the best recordings ever. And these weren't even finished. The Lily White sessions wasn't finalized. They weren't mixed and mastered to be released in and out, for consumption. And it's some of the best recordings you'll ever have of Gray Street and of Sweet Up and Down and of just like other Monkey Man. Like, well, there's no Monkey Man in like an official album, but this is the band we're talking about. So some releases aren't going to be released because number one, band is sensitive with what they release. One mistake, one mess up, one I don't know, we're not feeling the mix on this. It's not coming out for live track release. Number two is it may not be a multi-track show, right? Some of these early shows and some of this other stuff, they may not have had the multi-track recording because it's too early of a show, right? Um, so I mean, that's number two. Number three, they're hoarding the show for when the people get older and they retire. All right. Um, you know, there's going to be releases after, heaven forbid, the passing of Dave Matthews or of Carter Beauford. There's going to be stuff that's saved until after they retire, after members pass away. This is what artists do, right? You get Grateful Dead Cornell 77, which was like a heavily coveted Grateful Dead show. That didn't come out until years after Jerry Garcia passed away. I mean, decades, right? I mean, this just came out in 2017, Cornell 77. People say it's the best Grateful Dead show ever. That took decades after the passing of Mr. Garcia. So we're going to get some stuff, and I know Leroy's passed, but we're going to get some stuff after this band retires, after this band, you know, just kind of moves on, or just Dave Matthews touring with his own band, Dave and Friends, right? So that's a reality of it too. And then some things just aren't going to be released again. And John says 41898 or 21495 are good examples of shows that fans would want, but the band didn't care for because of how they sounded. Right? They just aren't going to release certain stuff. Um, I do personally think that some of the DMB two sets, I'm interested to see if they're going to release some of those, because I remember going to one in Mansfield. I think that was 2015. 20, yeah, I think it was 2015. Like that Mansfield 2015 show had some popping stuff, right? And there's other examples of that. They don't have to release that specific show, but some two sets you had some pretty stale acoustic sets as far as the set list. But even so, the acoustic sets were awesome, even though they had repetitive sets in that part of it. The acoustic sets, I think that some of the DMB two sets, I look back at it now, and hopefully they start releasing more of those. Um, Let me just see personal status, my shows, just to give you an example, because that's what I also heard. Shout out to Matt Souden. He's out in Italy studying abroad, and yeah, John. I know we got Alpine 2015, but that year should be highlighted for the two sets, and we did get in 2014. There was like a Greek theater one. I think I got. Um, there's that for sure as well. But those two sets, like those versions of songs where Rashawn quieted down a little bit. Yeah. Oh, Dave's voice wasn't good. I'm gonna keep it 100, John. I don't care about Dave's voice. Okay, I care about the band's overall sound. But I know what you mean, John, because it probably won't be released because of Dave's voice. Like honestly, there are sometimes I know I'm like, oh, Dave is like, whoa, he's off. But honestly, the instrumental portion of the band is what I care more about. I don't care if Dave's sharp or flat or off key, because I can't sing either. But I like more of the energy of the band. But you're right, that may not be why. So this is Mansfield, Massachusetts, June 13th, 2015. So Little Red Bird, that was the warm up, and they were doing that, and because they people weren't coming in right away because they didn't like the two sets started slightly earlier. So Little Red Bird, oh, Dave's on. Bartender with Dave and Tim. Then So Damn Lucky, Satellite. All right, you go to sleep. Then here's where it gets popping. Raven in the Stone back to back. That was fire. Raven in the Stone acoustic set back to back. And then they had Where You Going, Billy, Stolen Away, What Would You Say? And they then the main set, Minarets, Rooftop, Gravedigger, Nancy, So Much to Say, to Bridge, to Too Much, to Ants Marching. Then you get a Virginia in the Rain, and then 41, Black and Bluebird, Everyday, Gray Street, a Smooth Rider tease. I was like, what? Huh? Now I didn't want them to bring it back permanently, but I was like, whoa, Smooth Rider. And then they did a two step. All right. Now the thing is that set may not be an all time like, oh, that's the best set, but the sound of the band that night, man, it was fire. And the acoustic set, being able to hear Dave's guitar for an entire set was a special thing. So hopefully they look at 2015, but they got plenty of time. I mean, for the rest of our lives, we're gonna have opportunities for live tracks to be released. So we'll see what happens. Next up, it is the 27th anniversary of the debut of Granny as far as what we believe. Based on the sets we have, DMB Almanac has, they do a great job. The debut of Granny was today. Now, interesting thing with Granny, it was played in both sets. They had a two-set thing down there. I believe that was Trax. Let me just confirm that. But they had a two-set thing they were doing back in those days. I would love for them to do two sets, even if they're both electric. I like that. When I go to a Dead and Company, not Grateful Dead, John Mayer, um, McGee. Like when I go to these artists who do the two-set, man, it's so good because you can grab a beer, you can go to the bathroom, you could chill, you can meet up with friends in between. They start earlier, right? I love when this band or any band starts earlier, then you leave more time for the end, especially with curfews and everything. Yep. So Charlottesville nightclub, November 17th, 1992, and you get Granny to open up set one, Granny to open up set two. Now, one of the things is this is more of a where would you want to see Granny? If you could put it into Under the Table and Dreaming, the original version of Under the Table and Dreaming, where would you put it? Um, this was recorded with these songs, right? But it didn't make the final cut. Matter of fact, it was actually supposed to be a the first single, and they scrapped it. And I believe "What Would You Say" was the first single that they had. Um, so where would you put it in Under the Table and Dreaming? And so I would say this. All right, so you have 1 through 12. There's 12 tracks. I would put Granny after Boa. So best. This is the track listing for Under the Table and Dreaming. Best of What's Around. What would you say? Satellite. Rhyme Reason. Typical Situation. Dancing Nancy's. Ants Marching. Love Lay Down. Jimmy Thing. Warehouse. Pay for What You Get. Number 34. I would put Granny after the Best of What's Around. It would be a great two-spot song. Move What Would You Say to number three, Satellite four, and you move everything up forward. So it'd be Best of What's Around, Granny, What Would You Say, and then you get Satellite, Rhyme and Reason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That would be dope because you you have Granny. It's an awesome song to get at the beginning of a set. It's good as the opener of a show, but I love hearing it like second or third in a show. It's just such a great the strumming of the unique strumming of the D. Na 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 dicka, dicka, dick, da, da. Like that's a great second spot or third spot song. And the cool thing about Granny is even though it was abandoned for Under the Table and Dreaming and never made it to an official like original release, you know you have the re-release, the expanded edition, and it's track 13, and then there's Nancy and song that Jane likes acoustically. It's nice that they still play it throughout all these years. I talk about certain songs they've abandoned and they just don't play no more, right? And it's nice that at least Granny is stuck around. I just think it's an awesome song. It's a song that just has a great vibe, and the percussiveness of what Dave is playing, and the breakdown, and it's a great song to have on a set list. And it's awesome that it's stuck around. But happy birthday to Granny. It's the Granniversary, right? Next up, it's gonna be the last thing, unless anyone has anything else. This Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. Now I've said my piece on kind of what I think about fans being cocky, but let's just say that the band gets inducted, right? And they get selected at the beginning of January. Congratulations, DMB is one of them. Oh my God, I feel validated. Cool, cool. Like, all right. So DMB's in. Let's just say that. The chances of you getting tickets to this event, and I know some people just know this, but the chances you getting tickets to this event is going to be very, very difficult unless A, you're already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, B, you have connections or are a part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or C, you're just gonna throw a bunch of money. You're super rich and you can just throw a bunch of money and be a sponsorship or just throw you know $10,000 to win some sort of charity auction for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If none of those applies, you're probably not getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony as someone in the stands. It's like a 10,000 seat venue that they have this in. They switch from like MSG or New York City and Cleveland every other year, and this year happens to be it's in Cleveland. So sorry, you have to go to Cleveland, Ohio, and if you want to brave and see this band. But people are getting hotels, people are looking at flights, people are looking at travel. Book something where you can cancel your hotel, all right? Or unless you just want to be in the same city, all right, book something with the cancellation. Don't book a non-refundable flight because you might not get a ticket to this. And most people, I don't know. I can't say I shouldn't assume, but I see a lot of chatter in online of some fans saying, "Hey, oh, I'm gonna get a hotel. I'm so excited." Da, 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 da. And I'm not even gonna argue about if they're gonna get in or not, right? But I'm just gonna say be very careful. Make sure you have the means to cancel or you're willing to take the L. If you're gonna other because you may lose a couple hundred or $1,000 depending on where you're flying from, where you're paying from. These hotels are not cheap from what I heard because they know it's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame weekend. But it's gonna be very hard. Just to put it in perspective, Pearl Jam gets in some years ago, right? They're 10 fan club, which offers senior members and offers fans better access to tickets than the DMB warehouse does, right? They did not get any ticket allotment for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Okay, this is the 10 fan club. All right, people who are part of both say they like Pearl Jam's fan club better, especially because of seniority. So if Pearl Jam did not get tickets, the chances of DMB's warehouse getting tickets is slim to none. I'm sure they may have a giveaway, a sweepstakes, or something like that, right? Maybe they have a Bama Works Foundation. You donate again. That's why I say if you got money, you rich. Hey, you earned your money. You're someone who's wealthy. You got 10 G's. You're gonna have to be prepared to throw down 10 G's, 12, 13 G's for some auction from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or from the DMB Warehouse Bama Works charity that the band has. That's really a more reasonable way to get in. Is throwing your money around, right? Because there there's gonna be 5 acts that get in. Okay, so it's not just DMB. So they have to, even if they have allotments for fans, it would be split up. And then you have people who are already inducted. You have you have voters, and there's about 1,000 voters. Some of those voters, that some of these are just music personalities or industry experts. They're going to be in the building if they want to go. You have the regular just staff of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that's going to have some stuff. You may have sponsorships that have some seats, and it's only 10K. All right, this is not a 40,000 seat, 50,000 seat stadium. This is a very small venue with 5 acts that are going to be all legendary acts, no matter who gets in, and they're going to all, there's going to be high demand, and you're going to have, okay, let's say Pat Benatar and the Doobie Brothers making it with DMB, just them, and there'll be other ones too. You're gonna have people that are going to go just for them, legends. So if there's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame members or guests or personnel, they're gonna want to go to see those acts. So they're gonna take up a seat that's not going to be available to an average person because this is a music personality, this is a DJ in a big market like LA or New York, and they're gonna, hell, yo, you want tickets? Sure, yes, we're gonna do whatever we can to get you in. So it's going to be very difficult. Now, it's not impossible at this point. We don't know, but it's going to be close to impossible. This is not going to be, I think a lot of fans, or not a lot, no, let me not say that. Some fans are thinking that this is going to be like I can go to SPAC or Madison Square Garden, a very high demand ticket, and go outside and some nice fan's going to pay it forward and give me a ticket for face value or give me a ticket, all right, maybe 20, 30 over face, but it's a popular show. That's not going to be the case. I don't think there's not going to be that much inventory that people are going to be able to sell on the street because of how high profile this event is. So just warning you of that. Um, that's all I got for this one. Live Tracks 50. I am excited for Live Tracks 50 because '04 is a year that just no matter what I get out of there, it's a solid year. This has been heavily anticipated. Happy Granniversary. A great song, and again, it would be cool if it was like second. And you can, the great thing about now, I can make my own playlist. I can make Granny second, so it doesn't matter. But I just think it's a fun thing. Comment below where would you put Granny in the Under the Table and Dreaming track listing? The 12 original songs that were there on the original album. Where would you put it in there if you could fit it in? And then Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, folks, be careful. Cancellation hotels where you can get free cancellation or small fee cancellation. Flights, don't book them until closer or drive. Flying to Pittsburgh or flying to another market. I mean, Pittsburgh's actually far. Flying to Cincinnati, right? The Kentucky, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati Airport. All right, and then drive. But if you get a ticket, the flight will you'll figure out the flight later. That's really what it should be. Get a free cancellation hotel, and then figure out if there's a way to get a ticket before you get a flight. And you can fly anywhere, and you can drive 3, 4, 5 hours and save a little money because I'm sure Cleveland that weekend will be very expensive, and even so, or just pay a lot of money to fly into Cleveland. But it's your boy Constantviz 34. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. That's all I got for this stream. I am out. Let's just see. Yep, that's it. Peace.